hey, you're new.
Who, me?
You're new. You're new.
I'm Ryan. Who are you?
You're not from here.
I'm Ryan. For the sake of this show, I'll be Ryan.
That's my job.
No, I am Ryan. Come up with a different name. This
I'm
is the
Chris.
PP2. This is the PP2 podcast featuring the likes of Dowling and Chris Tanev and who else would be on the P? Who's on the PP2 that doesn't score? Thomas, Shapu. All your heavy hitters are here.
Yeah.
A couple of guys named Ryan making jokes about Kelowna. How are you tonight?
Oh, I'm great. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. In case you're wondering, this isn't the PP2 podcast. This isn't some Wyatt Arndt offshoot. And I know his game. I know what he does. This is the PP1 podcast, the one and only. We got a modified bench tonight. Ted wasn't able to be with us. Brady, I think, still sick because, he wasn't getting back to me, so he must still be sick. So hopefully,
is he the bad kind? Is he kind of the bad kind, the worrisome kind of sick?
He emojied puking yesterday, so
that's not good.
I don't think it's the word. I think it's just normal sick. So, hey, thanks for coming by. How are you doing? I haven't seen you in a while.
Me, Ryan,
face to face. How is Vancouver Ryan doing?
Oh, it's good. So a bit of an evening. My dear girlfriend's going to the island, to the land of Faber, tonight. And BC ferries. Here's the thing about BC ferries. The only way to know when ferries depart or arrive is on their website. Right. And their website's been down all day long. And the only way you can find out if or when a ferry is departing is if you tweet them and they get back to you.
No, you're lying.
I'm 100% serious. And so literally all day long, if people are looking to get away this weekend, which is all we do in this province, you are literally going, hey, at BC Ferries, what's the vehicle deck like to go into Schwartz Bay at 6:00? And they'll be like, an hour ago it was 10%, so you'll probably be fine. So anyway, I tweeted them today, and this is Freddie and Nanaimoites listening, and I know there are dozens. I forgot what the Nanaimo ferry terminal was called.
Oh, no.
So I thought it was, for some reason, Langdale. And Langdale is how you get to the Sunshine Coast. So they're like, oh, there's a 750 boat. Hell yeah, perfect. We're going to rush off to the North Shore, drop her off. It'll be great. And I just kind of sat in the parking lot for a few minutes and was looking at my phone, catching up on the game on the radio. And then I got a call being like, that's the 750 boats to Langdale. And I said, that's not where we need to go. So back we went. We were charging her electric car in North Van, because things were changing. And you messaged me 39 minutes ago.
Quite specific.
39 minutes ago, you messaged me and we were sitting, listening to the game, and you go, hey, can you do the podcast? And from 39 minutes ago to now, we crossed 3 municipalities, 3 jurisdictions, 1 bridge to get here to do this podcast.
So who's the local MP in your current jurisdiction?
I don't know.
I don't really care. This isn't a political podcast.
But the point is, that is the effort made tonight. Because if there's one thing I know, it is the stresses and anxieties and annoyances of podcast logistics falling apart at the last minute.
See, we share this, right? We kind of share the love and the hate and the stress.
Exactly.
I mean, I on our show, I would like to think that I kind of, herd the cats, if you will. And, they twist their tails around and they get there eventually. And I love our guys. We got a great show. But, someone has to kind of put things together, I suppose.
The theme of the night is shit happens. And shit has happened, and here we are.
Yeah, and it's not too bad. It's not too bad. You know what? Before we get into the Canucks, because it's a Canucks-based podcast, if you haven't heard. For all the new listeners or viewers out there, this is a Canucks-based podcast. You can probably tell by the background colors of our logo, which if I got rid of everybody, you could see our logo. But you've been here before. People know. First and foremost, we are part of the Dean Blundell Network. Thank you so much for having us.
Dean.
Because Ryan, you are on that side of the screen. We're also partnered with our good friends at Summer Skates. If you could be so kind to Vanna White your hand in the top corner. Hey, there's our logo.
This is what it's all about. This is
Live
what she's
technology.
about.
That's probably our Twitter.
Listen, let me tell you a thing or two about summer skates. I can't get enough of them.
You got to do the hand if you're gonna do it. You gotta do
The way they're made of
other one. There you go. That's good enough.
The way they're made of they're like slides, but they got the laces, so they're comfortable. And growing up, you remember those stupid Adidas slides that had the pegs on the bottom? And everybody in grade 6 would be like, no, they're comfy, I swear, and they would just hurt your feet. These ain't the case with these summer skates. Best in the business, top notch. You get them in the color of your favorite player, your favorite team. You get 97 on there, maybe 99, maybe 40, maybe 43, maybe 53, number 35. Maybe you're a big 20-watt Edler or OEL guy. You get a 23 on there. Best in the business. So it's summer skates.
You could get Drew Doughty if you really wanted.
Hey, you want to know a fun fact about Drew Doughty right off the hop?
Let's do it.
Same birthday as old Tulane Schaap here, December 8th.
No kidding.
Yeah, we were
an 8th, and he's number 8. There's got to be some correlation there.
Yeah, and ironically, I've always had someone had 8 with my numbers, but not because of the birthday. Because I've always resented my birthday because it's in December and I could never go to a water park because it's aesthetic with the A's and the P in my name, so it looks good.
You know what? Because mine's in September, so I never, and like in Kelowna, land of sun.
Yeah.
Growing up, we had 2 water slides. So we had the one on the west side of the bridge, and then we had one in town. Well, you can't have a birthday party in September. Everybody's going back to school. Back then, it did start getting cold in September. Now it's like,
you've pretend fall, then one more pretend summer, and then the snow hits the coke, and it's over.
Bad news bears. So yeah, I totally feel your pain. So yeah.
Now, another person that shares the December 8th birthday with me is the starting goaltender of your Vancouver Canucks, who big first regulation win for the boys in green, blue, and white tonight. Big 4-1 victory over the Chicago Blackhawks. Thatcher Demko. Now, I just know that there might be a time where I want some Thatcher Demko summer skates, and I just feel like they got free shipping over $50. So maybe one of these days to celebrate our birthdays, I'll get some of those Thatcher Demko summer skates. You know what I'm saying?
All you got to do is enter that contest, and I mean your odds are pretty good. If people don't enter, we still got to give away the promo, that 3-for-1 deal. So I mean, hey, maybe you get everybody you need. Maybe you want to treat a good friend on your show, a Claude Giroux. And maybe you would like to get a good friend, a former person on your show, a Matt Duchesne, maybe, or in Predators colors. You never know. People like different things.
How about a 19 in blue and white, the old Spezza right there, the real captain of your Toronto Maple Leafs.
You could do whatever you want. That's the beauty of summer skates, folks. Also, if you want, we still have the black and white PP1 Podcast ones, $30.
Those are pretty sharp. That's not a bad idea.
They're pretty sharp. We have a few to give away as well. So, be nice to me and I'll take care of you. Before we get into Canucks, because I had one more thing. I was at Walmart today.
Yeah.
And growing up, you see Gap, right? You see Gap and it says Gap on like all their clothing said Gap on it, right? And I always thought, like, how funny would it be if there was like a Walmart shirt that said Walmart on it? Well,
I mean, it'd be awesome, except their stupid brand is called George or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, Costco, I was listening to your show, and the Kirkland brand, Costco's got their own line, which is super clever. I love it.
They get it.
Merchandise guy, I love it.
Self-awareness is key in your major conglomerate brands.
Yeah. Suck in those extra dollars. No one needs to buy that stuff, but you're going to. That's just how it works. The Kirkland ones, shoes. You know what it's about. So anyway, I'm in there, and they have I was bombarded as I walked by this section. I was buying some cat food. Little fact there. I'm walking by the clothing section, and there must have been, I would say, like a 15-foot by 15-foot area of Kelowna, British Columbia clothing. Like, I'm talking
tourist stuff.
Well, I guess. Like, I've never seen so much. Like, it was almost obnoxious.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I thought, okay, all right, I'm down with that. So
What'd
they had the tie-dye hoodies. Yeah, I passed on this time. That's a great question, and I may have an updated answer next week. Would you buy? Great lead-in question. I like where you're going with this.
Let's be
So,
real here. I feel like
next
you're
week-
somebody that likes spending money at Walmart.
Well, they got a little bit of everything. You got your hockey cards, you got your Nerf guns, cat food, you got your actual food, Tylenol if you need it. Maybe you need a Pyrex. Maybe you need a Keurig. I have no idea. But
In this economy, I don't think so.
you should have been on that action well before this. So anyway, we're going to get into the good stuff. The Canucks are actually winning again. This is it's an interesting team, to say the least. They're winning when they should be losing. They're losing when they probably should have won. And then they're getting jobbed when it's too close to call. I feel like we're talking about the Seattle Seahawks, but it is actually the Vancouver Canucks we're talking about. I mean, it's very early in the season. They've been on a road trip, but so far, like, what are your feelings on this version of the Canucks?
Well, here's my cheap plug. You can hear it all about on my ever-changing title of my segment off the top of this week's Pucks on Net, where I'm a little concerned about.
I guess I consented to that, didn't I? Yeah, I did.
What was that?
I consented to this, didn't I?
I'm a little concerned about the Travis Green rookie tough love to Vasily Podkolzin, who saw the first regulation victory from the press box tonight. This team is arguably the best that has been iced since 2014, 2015. Arguably could be a bit better when you think about it. This is the best team that Travis Green has coached, but he seems to be a little confused and perplexed with some of the decisions that he's forced to make. And it's a relatively new team. There were new faces that showed up last year, and with that strange pandemic season, shortened bubble, no fun. You didn't really have those bonds made. So I think you have a team that's really trying to come together properly for the first time in 2 years, and figure out who they are, figure out the relationships on that team. But through those first 4 games up until tonight, a big 4-1 win over Chicago, I didn't know what I was looking at, because when they need to play run and gun hockey, Travis Green's penalizing them for not playing Patrice Bergeron 200-foot games. When you need them to play 200-foot games, they're sitting around, coasting around, waiting at the blue line, looking for long bomb Russian passes.
And that's what I do.
It's where the smart money's at. There's no question about it. But tonight it seems like they figured their shit out just enough to get a W. And I spent most of the day thinking that the Canucks would lose this game. I was assuming that Fleury would be a net, who I looked it up today. He's a career 2-2 against the Canucks organization.
He's done okay.
He's done okay against this team in multiple jerseys, wearing black and gold. But it didn't happen. It was a safe lineup. It was a safe deployment. And I worry about Podkolzin going forward because of that. And the selfish Canuck fan in me, who does not have allegiances to a general manager or a coach, was kind of hoping for a loss tonight, only because I posed the question on Twitter tonight, and I'll ask you right now. Travis Green, as long as he's been the head coach of this team, has never been on the hot seat before.
I mean, he kind of was when things were starting to unravel, but it just seemed
that wasn't his fault.
Out. No, it wasn't. But he's
never had.
In the media anyway, not necessarily a true hot seat, though. I'll give you that.
Think about it. When he showed up, he was the Dallas Aikens. He was the Alain Vigneault, the AHL cultivated hotshot head coach that was definitely more than ready for prime time, and everyone was afraid that they were going to lose him, and they didn't lose him, and they didn't interview anybody else for the job, and this was the guy, and nobody ever expected shit out of him. Then they
re-signed him. So is he actually on the hot seat though? Like,
not anymore. Everything is literally fine in Canucks land now. They're 2-2-1. They beat the Blackhawks,
playoff bound,
and everything's fine. And that's it sucks that there was a must win in Game 5 of the regular season, and it isn't a must win. And obviously, the season doesn't end tomorrow, but that was a game the Canucks had to win. That was a game that prevents everybody going, oh, I don't know, what about this head coach? What about this GM? What about all the pieces they put together? No, they played a complete game. They beat the crap out of a team they should beat the crap out of.
Exactly.
And we can all sit back and relax and gear up for the home opener in Seattle. It's the win they needed to get, and they did it.
The sad thing was that game until the third period sucked. Like it was, I just remember, I think I tweeted out on the PP1 Podcast account. Yeah, it's me sometimes. I was like, this game just isn't. Like, you're watching, you think, okay, like there's going to be something else that's going to happen here. There's going to be some kind of a spark, and it just seemed like rolling through the motions. And I thought right at the end of the game, you know who I didn't notice in this game, and who, I mean, of all games, this probably should have been the guy you do notice. Elias Pettersson was like a ghost in that game. Like I actually had to remember, did I actually see him on the power play? I'm sure I did.
Well, he got the primary assist on Besser's PPG in the second, but he was in a long list of Canucks that was playing with no confidence, that was playing scared, looking nervous, being like, we gotta figure this out.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, like things definitely open up in the third, and it actually became a pretty exciting finish to that one. Connor Garland ends up getting the empty netter coming out of the box. I mean, yeah, it's a win. It's against Chicago, and I think enough of us still feel that there's worth there every time they beat the Blackhawks. And I mean, it was the Patrick Kane 1000th game, whatever, in March. So like, let's pick the one game against Vancouver because we did the Sedin, so it's only fair. Like, whatever. Like,
it kind of pains me that the Sedins respect the Blackhawks core as much as they did, and it's probably, we assume that they're just pieces of garbage that hate and disrespect the Sedins, but probably they respect that core team from 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It's just like,
we're done. We're done with it. We need a new hate, and maybe it's Detroit. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because after the game against Detroit, which ended up being like a lot of fun, Philip Zadina,
Tyler Bertuzzi, all these
Tyler Bertuzzi, but like Zadina, I mean, this did happen on the weekend, but he got butt checked. He got butt checked by a one Connor Garland, who is an inch shorter, maybe two, was called, and I will use because this is speak. This happened. This is verbatim.
It's an actual quote. It's not a word that we like to use.
I mean, I don't use it, but he called him a midget, and I thought,
come on, bud.
Like, first of all, like,
come on.
I don't care what era we're in, or like, of correctness and everything. Like, really, like that's where you wanted to go. That was your choice of words. Like, even 10 years ago, we were like, I don't think that's what you need to say. But he's basically like, their team won. They got the better of them, but because he didn't get, the brunt end of that play, he's got to go out on Garland and just make this into a big deal. Like, bro, like, maybe just be better. Just be better. So I guess, there's reason to look forward to the rematch 8 months from now, when we've all forgotten, which in Vancouver, as Canucks fans and Kelowna as well, we don't forget this kind of stuff. We remember Duncan Keith's hit many moons ago, and that still apparently is so fresh in our minds when the retribution hit, whatever.
Here's the cycle of remembering things.
Yeah.
You wake up, you go to work. If you have an office job where you sit on Twitter half the time, like most of us do.
I work all the time.
Yeah, I'm working. I clock in, I get to work, I clock out. I don't edit Pucks on Net TikTok clips on the clock.
Not at all. That would be wrong.
That'd be very wrong, and that's why it doesn't happen, kids. Hey, here's a little lesson for all you kids out there. If you can lean, you can clean. And here's a real lesson for kids out there. If you have a manager that's 3 years older than you that tells you that, you should quit that job, because you're not gonna. It's not getting any better there.
Also, maybe have what's it called, ghost mode on Google, or what's that called?
Incognito mode.
Incognito mode. Yeah, maybe invoke that just in case.
But you talk about Canucks Twitter now. Not forgetting. I have to cough here for a second. I'm gonna
go for it. Like, make it a part of the show. Give her.
You wake up about 8 or 9. Somebody back east tweets, a fun factoid that, the last time the Canucks played Detroit, here are 6 clips. And then from about 9 to about 10:30, the hate really festers. 11:30 to 12, the prognosticators come on board and defend or encourage. And then by then you go eat lunch. And then by about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, you're just bloodthirsty. You remember everything about every game that Duncan Keith's ever played against the Vancouver Canucks. You don't remember him wearing a Team Canada uniform. You don't remember about him having a really amazing 2015 Stanley Cup playoff run when he wasn't even involved against the Canucks and he won the Conn Smythe, and deservedly so. Mm-hmm. You just think this is a hillbilly piece of shit from Edmonton that has got a house down in Penticton that he's not really from here. Is he from there? Is he from the Peg?
From Manitoba, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, this guy's a white sunglass wearing Albertan. Get out of our town. 7 o'clock puck drop. You're exhausted from the hate, and then you're back to apathy.
That's pretty much. That's like that's almost bang on, I would say. Because you're just so worn out. You're like, man, I had such a long day today. Like, what did you actually do? I don't remember.
I just remember I did a lot of. There's about 14 hockey DB tabs open. Hockey
your
reference
phone's like smeared to the max with all like the swiping, and it's a mess. It's a mess. Yeah, that's basically how it is. So yeah, we get so bent out of shape about this. And this year, I've been trying to just leave the battles alone, leave the melee to the beneath me's. Basically, like if you want to complain about X, Y, and Z, go for it. You know what? I got stuff to do. I'm not here for that. But I was pretty excited that, Connor Garland's definitely fit into this team instantly. He has become a fan favorite. Nice little goal tonight. Just, it's a stat. It's a goal. They count. It's
everybody likes all the guys like him because they're taller than him, right?
I mean, every tall guy, you always want. Do you think there's like that small men mentality? But really, like most of us people that are, I'm 6 feet. I'm just happy. Like, you know what? Exactly. You stay there.
I'm just happy Eric Lindros isn't on this team. He's too tall. I don't like that. Yeah. No, Garland's been tremendous, and he's the player. He's everything that you wanted him to be. He has lived up to billing. We are 5 games into the season. Now that the Canucks have won, we can go back to 5 games into the season. Don't worry about it. But he's had a good start. He looks like he can be slotted in the top 3 lines. He's looked what he finds chemistry. He's really smart on the puck. He's doing the twirls and the diversions. He's ducking around guys. He's very smart protecting that puck, which you like to see with it. And obviously the cliches is like, that size needs to be that smart with the puck. But no, he's just a skilled hockey player. It doesn't matter how big he is.
It's awesome.
And he looks like a hockey player. He acts like a hockey player. He riles up the home team. He riles up the away team, and he's the yappy guy at the party that, hey, yeah, that guy seems pretty tough. We're pretty tough. We're around him. He's the small little wiry guy that's gonna go. If the other guys are causing trouble, he's gonna make sure they don't anymore.
It's kind of nice. I know we chatted about on our show. I think it was last week or the week before. Who's like the tough guy on the Canucks? Like, where's the team toughness going to come from? And we kind of chatted about that it's kind of like by committee almost, but not in a, an absolute like monster kind of toughness where you're expecting, a guy like Tyler Myers or, somebody to come out and really like pummel someone. That's not the type of team this is, but they've got enough guys like the Dickinsons and they've got the Garlands and, Myers is there as well, but even the Bo Horvats and stuff, like nobody's really, it looks like anyway, so far that nobody's really willing to just kind of let it be. Whereas when they had all those guys, it seemed like anytime something happened, they just left it alone and like nothing really came of it. Mm-hmm. So at least it's like everybody's sticking up for each other because they have to, which I think is, that's a lot of fun itself. It's like it's a team, very, feel good, like a team.
You can there's a difference between like sticking up for your teammates and having your teammates back, and then not like just jumping guys and doing something stupid. Like it gives you a lot of confidence and a lot of comfort knowing that there's 4 guys on the ice that they have your back And that doesn't mean anything's going to happen. It doesn't mean that there's going to be fights. There's going to be stupid shit. But when you know that in situations like in Detroit, or when the games are getting heated, it must feel pretty damn good on a team knowing that this guy has fired everybody up. And you know what? If I start getting pushed around by Rasmussen or whoever on Detroit, my fellas, my pals, they're coming in. I'm not going to do anything stupid, but they're going to be like, hey, this ends here. You saw it tonight in against Chicago, where Stillman, don't call me Corey Stillman Jr. we'll call him, 2-time Stanley Cup winner, by the way. Stillman hit 2 questionable hits on Höglander.
Yeah.
And Burroughs just, no, that's not happening. You can, we're not going to have the discussion on fights, but what you saw tonight was the exact reason why fighting is still in the game. You were targeting a younger, smaller player, and that's fine, but the hits you dished out just there were dangerous and suspect. That's not happening anymore. We're going to fight. Yep. This is why fighting is still in the rules. Yeah, it's resolved, and it's just if I was Stillman, I'm like, I'm going to keep hitting these guys until somebody tells me not to, because that's just how hockey works.
Nobody said I can't do it, so I'm going to keep going until you tell me don't do it again.
That's the best thing about hockey is intimidation is such a key factor. You can use it to your advantage, and you can use it to it can be a detriment to you. Mm-hmm. It's not gooning people up and being Tom Wilson and injuring people. Yeah. It's just keeping people honest. And don't skate into the corner that hard.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen. You just got to keep your head up, because hey, I might come and lay you out. I haven't decided yet.
Maybe I bury your head into the boards accidentally, and I get hey, you know what? Maybe suspension ain't that bad. I don't know. You decide if that is dangerous enough for you. You know what I did realize that was dangerous? The Canucks without Quinn Hughes. Not so good. Not so good at all. And when he comes back, there's a very big reason why. I think Elliot Friedman tweeted out today, whatever the Canucks are paying him, or whatever they paid Quinn Hughes, they should be paying him more. Very simple but effective tweet.
I thought it was this fan base, the way they digest coverage and of this team, either be in podcasts or media, it's just as beautiful as it is stupid. But when Dan Murphy is tweeting on the 5th game of the regular season
on the bus,
I mean, I see. Take it for what you will, folks, but I just saw Quinn Hughes get on the early bus, and that usually means players that are starting are taking it. Nobody knows. This guy's asleep 85% of the day. For all we know, he always takes he could always take the late bus and still be starting, but no, he sees the early bus. He puts 2 and 2 together. The gambling lines change, but yes, he that tweet. Whatever group chats we're in. It became okay, Quinn's probably going to play now.
What seat was he sitting up front? Was he by the driver? Did he sit by Green? What were they talking about? Do you think they're talking about how the power?
I would never want to sit by Travis Green, for the love of God. I'm losing my luster with him.
Well, you've got a pretty decent, quaff there. I think you guys could definitely be rivals in the hair game. Mine's all over the place. I'm also growing it up for Halloween, so
nice.
One more week, and I'm back to normal. I'm very excited about that.
I've had a theorem on our podcast, Pucks on Net, over at pucksnet.ca, and it's totally me just riffing, but I know the type of player Travis Green was. We know the type of, he was a mucker and a grinder that had to work every hour. He wasn't the most skilled guy, but he served a purpose on a good team because he worked his ass off.
Sure.
And I just think that he, and me completely assuming, and I'd love to ask him it and for him to shoot me down saying you're an idiot for thinking that, but I just think that he was a guy that responded very well to tough love and hard, listen, kick in the ass, figure it out, the Red Foreman approach to things. Mm-hmm. And I think that's how he responded well in learning to play hockey, and he's tried to bring that to his own players and through his own coaching, because for all the success stories we hear about your Petterssons, your Hughes, your Bessers, your Horvats, you hear your Jared McCanns, you hear your redacted from Abbotsford, you hear your Nikolai Goldobin, you hear your Jonathan Dahlin and in Utica of just like tough love, kicking the ass, figure it out.
Yeah.
And as we all know, as we get a little older and, it's 2021, that approach is going to work for some people. It does work for me, but it's not going to work for people with different personalities.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm worried that we're seeing that with Podkolzin. And
I was going to say he'd be the guy that maybe it doesn't work. And I look at my kids. So
language barrier.
Yeah, that's also probably a key one. Like our oldest, she's in speed skating. My wife is a speed skating coach, so it's tough to separate mom and coach. Well, they're both the same person, and there's also other coaches as well. But we can have these chats at home. She's hopefully in provincials this year. She's trying to shoot for to do that, and if she gets her shit together, she might even have a shot at nationals. But
nice.
It's at the same time, like we've watched her. She's been in this now for almost 5 years, and you watch this kid that went from, oh, the boys are making fun of me, and I'm like, well, they've been skating for 4 years and you've been on the ice once, so it's gonna come with the territory. Now it's at the point where you're like, okay, well, why aren't you moving your feet fast when everyone else is moving their feet fast? You're doing the same thing. You're as fast as the other kids because we've seen them, and yet you give that little bit of criticism, a little bit of tough love, like, well, why aren't you doing what you're supposed to be doing? And you kind of get the eye roll, and like, because you, in this case, can't really separate it. They can't separate I'm thinking in my head, well, you wouldn't talk to your other coach that way, but because your parent is here, and I'm thinking, like, I've said the same thing, and I get the, like, I'm just the dad and you didn't see what's going on the ice. Like, no, I watched every kid on the ice, and you're the one that's like, it'll be okay. Well, their first meet is next week. It's kind of like brushing your teeth, right? Your first meet's next week. So your practicing either did pay off and you're just playing rope-a-dope possum, or you're going to find out that everybody's going to fly by you and you're going to get beat. Brushing your teeth, you'll teach your kids, like, brush them all the time. Well, next time we go to the dentist, if you have 3 cavities, it's not going to be a fun drive home, kind of thing. Or in the NHL, hey, maybe I was listening, and then when push comes to shove, I'm going to show you in the ice that, yeah, like, that tough love did work, or this approach worked. If it doesn't, you're going to see those guys get buried down, and you don't want to see a guy like Podkolzin, or even we thought maybe Bo Horvat back in the day, right? We thought, well, why are they burying him, or why are they not putting Pettersson on the power play, or why did they sit Brock Besser to like all these things? And you're like, none of these things make sense, but you have to adapt to what's going on. You have to figure things out, figure out who needs this and who needs that. And yeah, you're right. Podkolzin is definitely the guy. He's the latest one anyway.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just whatever. They felt they needed a little bit more of, if you want to call it a veteran lineup for one game to go and beat Chicago.
Safer lineup.
And get a win. Get a win, right?
Coaches love safe players. They love safe lineups. They love to win a game 2-1 with perfect structure. And that is the fault of them. That's why 31 of 32 coaches lose the Stanley Cup this year, or each year, because they're all wrong. But yeah, he is gonna. Here's the thing, like, you look at Podkolzin, like, he's supposed to be a power forward, smart, responsible power forward that doesn't take a lot of penalties, but is vicious. Great. That type of player needs to play in the top 6. That player is not going to play a third line grind defensive zone face-off grind line, and he's not going to kill penalties. There's no point in putting him in the bottom 6. Now, you can put him on a third line, you know what? Like, in today's NHL, you're supposed to have 3 lines that can score. That's fine. Put him on a line with players that can create plays, or that he can, take a drink every time you hear them say he can take the puck he takes the puck to the net. That's fine. Put guys on his line that can do something with that puck. Don't have him out there with Dowling or just Alex Chason or whoever the hell it is. Like, you need to put some skill with him because he can contribute. He's also young as hell, and I get that. And you have to talk out of both sides of your mouth with Podkolzin, because if you don't, you're an idiot, because he had consistency issues in the KHL. He was not finding ice time. He comes here to camp. He's underwhelming in training camp and preseason. Greener has a talk with him. He comes out next game flying. Like, this is a guy that maybe, I'm not going to say he's lazy or lacks a work ethic, but he just needs a reminder, a fire lit under his ass before every game. Like, if you want to be contributing to the NHL, you need to work your ass off every night, and that's a lot more energy to exert than just getting by based on your size and skill in younger leagues. So it's the process you deal with every young rookie.
Yeah.
It's just, we have become acclimatized to Vancouver that any first round pick, any prospect is going to come in and revitalize and change the franchise because they've had about 4 guys that have done that. And so it just, every time a guy comes down the line, more pressure comes on him. He's, listen, these 2 teams are the farthest away from one another, but you know what? You look at Tampa, and all of a sudden, Braden Point is your 3rd round draft pick, and he's nothing too remarkable to write home about. And now he's your franchise guy. Mm-hmm. It's like, as soon as you keep having success with homegrown prospects, the next one, the expectations grow that much more. So It's tough. It is a tough thing. And I shot my mouth off on Monday that he needs to play more, and he does, but I also completely understand why he's not playing more. But hey, that doesn't make for fun content.
No, it doesn't. I mean, you look at a Höglander, or you look at Brock Besser, or you look at, the latest cases, Podkolzin, or as you said, Redacted, who we all thought would be better. There are certain players that, as much as you do want them to progress up the lineup, like you're playing creative player or be a pro in the NHL, you know what? Some guys just have a little bit more talent than the other guys, and that's great. I get you want to put them in a grind line and let them work through it, and maybe play a little bit more defensive hockey, and that's great. You can help develop a game. At the same time, he's a pretty talented forward, and you do want to see what he can do on the other end of the ice where the pucks are supposed to go in. And yeah, you're going to work on those things. Brock Besser didn't work on his 200-foot game until he had to.
Yeah.
Until he absolutely had to, because nothing else was going right for him. Now the Crown Prince is back, and he's,
and if you remember correctly, he learned that on the job. There was never, okay, you're playing with Darcy Hordichuk or whoever. You're playing on the 4th line with you're playing on the 4th line with Jay Beagle. Go learn how to play shutdown minutes. No, it's like, you need to go out there and be as offensively dangerous as possible, but you also need to back check.
100%. Exactly.
And I need you to just back check. As soon as just work on back checking. If you back check, you'll be fine.
Yep.
That's all you got to do. And just know where you got to be. But you don't teach somebody that by scratching them or stapling them to the bench or whatever. It's like, you need to learn on the job. You need on-the-job training in any capacity in life. You need to be in situations, especially when you are adapting to the NHL, which is a smaller rink. You need all the on-the-job training you can get, and you should get on-the-job training in a role on a line that they want you to play in. Remember Cody Hodgson? I
do remember him. Bar down, game 8. I remember everything else about him too.
He comes in. AV is a veteran coach. AV doesn't like rookies. He never liked rookies. That's one of his faults. He comes in and he's saddled. If he gets in the lineup, he's centering the 4th line with literally Darcy Hordichuk or Victor Oreskovich.
I was just going to say, good call on that, man. Great mindset.
And I'm like, if I could go back in time, it's like, he should have been with the city. He should have been centering the 2nd line. He should have been playing big man. He should have played game 7 instead of Jeff Tambellini. But we're not going down that rabbit hole. He was a guy that you had. This was a goal scorer, and he had a goal scoring knack. He was talented, and he's like, you're only playing the 4th line. And this is before his injury troubles. This was when he was healthy and just the young kid.
True.
I don't want to see that with Podkolzin, because I've seen it enough with. We haven't seen it. We've speculated. There's been, rumors and rumblings that, this is how Green treats younger kids and rookies. And I don't want to see that with Podkolzin, and we don't need it. He's dynamic. He needs to play big minutes. Tanner Pearson, I love him to death. I play just like him in Chal and 3-on-3. He's got third line written all over him. That's the guy that should be coming out.
Thank you for that. Thank you for your PSA. I appreciate that. Now, I don't get you for too much longer, so I would be...
Let's just keep going. Don't worry about it.
I'd be remiss if I didn't get into this. So it is time for the segment of segments, the best segment in hockey podcasts. It's time for Dudes and Guys. Now, hopefully, I get this going.
Dude. Guys.
No, that's not the song.
Dude.
This is the song.
Dude, what does Ryan say? Guys! Dude, what does mine say? Guys!
Thank you, Brady, for that nice little clip that you made for us. We did talk about that last time. You've
Wherever
been here
you are
before.
right now, we're thinking about you.
Yeah, you've done this before, I'm sure. If you haven't, well, time to buck up, bucko. Dudes and guys, you know the drill. You pick someone you liked. You pick someone that, was meh. You're like a guy. Like, yeah, he played. He occupied space. Maybe didn't. So first and foremost, as the guest, Ryan Schaap, Pucks on Net fame. Who is your guy for the past week? Who's your
a guy? Oh, Travis Green. He's on my shit list.
Okay,
he's a guy and a half.
Okay.
How do you not fire up a team to play the fucking pardon my French? I know it's a family show. How do you not rile up a team, your best team that you've had in front of you in years, to not beat the Buffalo Sabres? Oh, but they're working hard. They're skating. Kyle Okposo still in the league. Listen, for all you kids out there, I mentioned this on Monday. Go grab your copy of NHL 12 and go see how many current Buffalo Sabres are in that game, because there's like 6 of them. That's an old, rusty team. And
Maximus Ganoff's in it, I think.
Well, Kyle Okposo is an NHL 07, which was made for PlayStation 2.
Ouch.
Travis Green, I don't even. You know what? I have no ill will towards him. He won the WHL championship with the Portland Winterhawks, which is an incredible team. He did a good job in Utica. Hey, he did a great job in junior teams. This is the NHL, baby. You're dealing with big money problems and big money personalities. And I'm not saying he doesn't know how to do it, but I haven't seen it. I don't know if he's a great coach. I don't. And I see he comes out. He's putting safe lineups. I don't need to see Alex Chase on. Probably a great guy. Why is he playing on the PP1? Oh, because he played with McDavid and Draisaitl. Ryan, both of us could play on the power play in Edmonton.
I believe I'm watching the power play right now as we speak. It's 4-1 for the Oilers. They just scored. Connor McDavid just scored. Yeah, that was about as easy as you just said it was. And either of us, and I've seen how I've played, and I'm sure there's a video somewhere on the internet of how bad I am. I would assume that you can play beer league. I am also going to guess, based on that, our podcasting is our claim to fame, that you're probably not a burner. But hey, I'm wrong. I'm wrong a lot of the time. But what I'm gonna guess is that Connor McDavid can make you look like a star. Yes, you have a Derek Pouliot.
Me and my Derek Pouliot stick. So Travis Green is my guy of the week. I don't like what he's doing with Pod Colson. I think there are more productive ways to send that message. And he's not going to get any better. He's not going to learn any better being in the press box. So, dude, my guy is Travis Green. What about you?
I think this is for the second week in a row, Elias Pettersson. I mean, for the same reason, see, I'm allowed to do this because people see where I'm coming from. For the same reasons that Travis Green isn't getting the most out of his team, that he's not pushing them to the brink, to these teams that they should be absolutely waxing. And yes, there is enough talent on this team where that is possible. Both power play units have enough talent where they can actually score, and we don't have to rely on one over the other. They're able to essentially scatter talent through 3 lines, and the 4th line is kind of fun too. But you look at Elias Pettersson, and I'm sorry, like, you got to come out sharp. This is now a season where, you just signed your contract, massive 3-year deal, if for all those friends out there that love bridges. But at the same time, like, you got to prove it now, man. Like, you are going to be looked upon every single game. And yes, there's going to be games where you're going to put up 5 points. You are very capable of that. But right now, you go against the Buffaloes or against the Detroits, or in this case, Chicago tonight. And we were saying right before, like, I really didn't notice Elias Pettersson. Yeah, he got the assists, and that's great. But on Besser's goal there. But I mean, it's not the Elias Pettersson where you're harping on him because he's hitting like 6 posts or crossbars, or he finally gets one, or he makes just some slick little shimmy shake play. This isn't the Elias Pettersson I remember, and I know it's going to come, but it always seems to be when I call him out on this show, next game comes out all guns a-blazing, and I believe in you, Mr. Pettersson, Mr. Bespoke, Mr. Balenciaga, if I said that right. I believe in what you've got to do on this team. I know you can do it, but for now, like, come on, man, like, you're better than that. Come on.
I think that we piss and moan about, and there's no need for the preseason. Training camp is too long. Preseason's too long. Workouts are too long. I think that they are integral and important, and they are the right amount of time. And you're seeing that in Hughes and Pettersson. And
Pettersson, Hughes is fine. He looked pretty good tonight.
Well, but he's not in the ring shape.
No,
and he's got an injury, and you know what? I could be talking out my ass, and it was just from a block shot or this or that, but he's already missing games, and he's getting maintenance days 5 games into the regular season.
Have you? I mean, just side question. Have you ever talked out of your ass? Like, actually, people talk about this all the time, but like, is this a talent that you might have?
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right.
Don't even get me started. How much time you got?
Is it a family show? Like, what are you willing to let on here? Okay. So
cue the Ace Ventura clip. Cue it.
I don't have it let up. I'm sorry. Let's get into dudes. This is the fun part where we get to gloat about our boy, our man of the show. Who just gives you who just like warms the cockles of your heart, even the subcockle area.
Man, it's a good question. I don't think I'm too crazy about any of the Canucks right now.
Who gets you horny on Maine?
A lot of things.
Specifically the Canucks.
You know what? And I don't want to hum and haw on this too much. So, I
mean, I've got one. If you need to think for a second,
I will say, yeah. Why don't you go first? Okay. My edible's starting to kick in.
I don't know. Like, do you have any food? Buy you a bag of chips. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Tyler Myers is my dude of the week. This goes against almost everything I know and believe in the past couple of years. But what he's shown us this past week, well, basically since the season has started, he has now basically endeared himself to the entire Canucks nation with the Duncan Keith thing. He blocked a shot tonight, and we all kind of gasped, like, "Oh no, oh no! Our man, our large man, our large skating fast man on defense may be out of this game. What will happen? Will Quinn Hughes have to take over with Kyle Burrows? We can't do that." But then he came back. And I thought, the world's good again.
Mm-hmm.
The world is good again. Tyler Myers, I think because of how this team is now set up with Ekman-Larsson, obviously a healthy Quinn Hughes or a playing Quinn Hughes, there's enough, I'm going to call it depth, because they can actually roll 3 defensive pairings as opposed to, well, here's what we got.
Well, you already heard Travis Green this week being like, face-offs are a problem. We don't have any right shot defenseman. And everybody looks at Jet Black Jimbo.
Oh, yeah. Whose fault is that? So, I mean, as far as a usable lineup where they can have those 3 pairings, like, Tyler Myers all of a sudden has use on this team. He's not looked at as being, let's take contracts out of the equation, because
he makes some money.
He makes a few dollars.
Couple of bucks.
The problem is, though, we just have to take all that away, because we've got another guy, Oliver Ekman-Larsson. You now have a Quinn Hughes. There's a few dollars on this team where, you shuffle the deck chairs. It really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we look at it and we need to see worth on the ice. Take away the dollar signs, take away the Texas with a dollar sign on it. and just look at the player. And you know what? Tyler Myers has warmed my heart this week. He hasn't done anything like overly amazing that I'm thinking, oh my God, this guy's winning the Norris this year.
Oh, he will be.
He might. He could. Maybe he can re-win the Rookie of the Year award from many moons ago. But you know what? I'm happy to say that I'm happy for Tyler Myers this year so far. He hasn't really done anything to put the team at a detriment, and that excites me. That puts me in a good mood, because then I think, hey, we don't have the best team, but you know what? I'm not pissed about it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have a billion things to complain about, and the salary cap this, and the salary cap that. You know what? I can actually get into a game this year and think, I'm excited for the Canucks. And even if they lose, I bet they're going to make it fun. And you know who's going to be there? Dude of the week, Tyler Myers.
Well, I'll follow suit, a similar suit, and I'll pick my birthday twin as my dude of the week. We've been talking a lot about who's scoring goals, who's playing defense, who's winning faceoffs, who's being a bad coach, who's gambling a bit too much. But nobody's pissing and moaning about goaltending. This is Thatcher Demko's first season as the bona fide starter. No offense to Yaroslav Halak, but 2010 called. They want their Montreal Canadiens run to the Eastern Conference Final back. Your days are behind you. This is Demko's crease. It's Demko's 4x6, and it's his first year as a starter, and he's looking good. He looks structurally sound like Corey Schneider. He's making big saves like he's Luongo, and he just looks smart out there. I have to cough again. 1 second.
Go for it. Make it happen. Oh, that was weird because you didn't allow for the sound. So
I muted that.
We're gonna actually clip that later, and we're gonna have some inappropriate clips for that. I'm sorry.
But Demko looks big in the net. He hasn't gotten any taller or wider. He looks smart. And ever since I read that Athletic article about the anonymous NHL GMs, former GMs, head coaches, former coaches, blah, 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 rank him the 9th goalie in the NHL, 2 above Jacob Markstrom. He's looked good. And there is literally nobody talking about Demko, which is like a good defenseman. He ain't talking about you. You're doing your job. Demko's doing his job very well. Warms my heart. We talk about asset management and cultivating prospects and blah, blah, blah. And this organization hasn't done very well at that. But they drafted this guy reasonably late in, I believe, 2014 in the second round. And he went back, he simmered and he called, he stewed down in the minors and in junior hockey and college hockey. Thank you. And he, like any good goaltender, like any good stew, he stayed on that AHL burner a bit too long, but it was beneficial. And this is a guy that they planned to be a starter for this team 7 years ago. And here we are. And he's got a good deal. He wants to play here. We all like him. And he's playing very good hockey, and that's how you expect a goalie in 2021 to play. Pretty good.
I love it. And you know what? I think we always forget about this. It's interesting. But his name is Thatcher. What's not to like about a man named Thatcher?
Great name. Good birthday.
So that basically, we're gonna kind of recap. We had a great time. Ryan Schaap came in tonight, just out of nowhere, just kind of swooped in like Batman. I put out the signal. Like podcast with the microphone logo in the sky, and you saw it over the second narrows, and I don't even remember where you live now, but it doesn't really matter. You're in Vancouver, so I'll just use that as the whole, I guess.
I'm on the grounds of the old haunted Burger King in the shadow of the Pacific Coliseum. I just moved.
Okay. You know what? I parked just down the street from there when I saw my first Canucks game.
Oh, well.
A nice older gentleman allowed us to park in his driveway for $10. And I got Alberry score a hat trick. So bless that old man.
Hell yeah. But no, I was more. I saw the podcast signal go up, and I was like, this is my Friday, and I'm ready to do some extracurricular activities, but I can put those off for about an hour because that's what you do. That's what you do in this community. Well, I took it 31 minutes ago, so in about 15 minutes I should be good to go.
That's good. We'll get you back on in 15 minutes. No, thank you very much for coming by. Unfortunately, we do have to honor our deal, and we always say this is your time of the show where you can selfishly promote whatever you're got going on in your podcast or show. So Ryan Schaap, thank you. The floor is yours for the next 30 seconds. Say whatever you like. Well, I mean, in reason, I suppose, but
we have a podcast. It's called Pucks on Net. You probably, hopefully you know about it. If you already listened to us, my plea to you is follow us or consume us on one of the two platforms. Please go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/pucksonnet. Hit the subscribe button, and we put up video segments of our podcast there. Usually the Canucks one, about 15-20 minutes, other clips, and then our full episodes in audio format. And if you're on TikTok, we just started putting clips there. So just give us a follow there. Just click around. But that's where you can help us out the most. And other than that, we'll be back on Monday night with another episode. There's a Halloween theme to it coming up, and we're having a lot of fun podcasting. And this is the third day this week I've podcasted about the Canucks. So
love. You guys have an OnlyFans, or you guys have an OnlyFans?
It's a Rash's OnlyFans.
Oh, perfect.
It's $4.20 a month.
Clever.
And it's only photos of his feet.
I mean, hey, we all got our thing, right? We all got our kink.
Yeah. We don't kink shame here.
No, not on this show. Thank you so much for joining the PP1 podcast. We've got a Derek Pouliot stick, in case you're wondering.
This is my question to the listeners out there. Do you have a Derek Pouliot stick? No, you don't.
No, you don't.
There's one more for sale at Team Store. I want to buy it, so I have two for Purely.
So you have both of them? So I have all of them. I have 1 and 2. We've got a Twitter. You know where to find us. You know where to find it. Ted and Brady, myself out there. We have Instagram as well. Make sure you check us out on the Dean Blundell Network. There's tons of great shows on there. The Brenton on Tour podcast. Brent is back on tour. His shows are awesome, as well as Kids on the Escalator, which is like Marvel and comic books and stuff. I enjoy watching their stuff. Obviously, we enjoy having everybody on our show. We enjoy that Ryan Schaap was able to come out as well. And on behalf of Mr. Schaap out in Vancouver, who's hopefully going to hit that ferry at some point, I'm the other Ryan. I'm Ryan Hank of the PP1 Podcast. This has been a great show. Enjoy those Canucks. We're getting closer to that home opener. Peace out.